Hello everyone, this is Anime Heaven X23, and I'm going to give you my review for Medal of Honor Frontline on the Gamecube. As you can see here, I just beat it, and this is the second time I've beaten the game, but the first time I beat it on the Gamecube. The first time I actually ever played it was on the PS3 when it came remastered for Medal of Honor. I believe it was Warfighter. And you got the game free with it, which was pretty cool. And the game was, of course, since it was a PS1, remastered, it looks so much better and much easier to see things and stuff. Because certain ones, when you're playing the next to last mission for this game, and in another level, unless you really turned up the brightness on your TV, some of the enemies were really tough to see, because when it was dark in the game. So you had to adjust your brightness to do it. So if you're going to play it on the GameCube, which I definitely still recommend doing, I would definitely turn up your brightness. And also, the controls in this game controls really, really well on the GameCube, and being an early GameCube game, while it's definitely not a good looking game, it's I would say an okay looking game at best. The controls really good, the sound effects are really good, the missions are good. The variety of the missions, the weapons are nice, everything feels right, and it's one of the few games that came with a nice little multiplayer with the game, back in the day. Doesn't take up that many blocks for data. And once you beat the game, like I showed here, it says next mission is literally to start the game over again. So that's the only real difference once you do beat it. Now, something you can do is when you go into, if you hit on the, let's see if I can do this and not lose the picture for you guys. Okay, so if you go to your personal records here, this will bring up, how many shots you had, where you hit each target, the left leg, right leg, the arms, torso, crotch, sorry. Gives you all that, how many shots you fired, how many enemies you killed, how many hits you taken, your accuracy. And while my accuracy in this game is definitely not good, only because, like I said, in some missions, it was so dark that I was shooting a lot, as I say, praying and shooting, that I was hitting targets. So that wasn't exactly the best. Then you can watch the ending credits if you want. There really isn't that many options, really. But like I said, so if you hit that, then it comes up for your case. Now, when you get certain stuff locked, certain things will appear there. Like I say, my accuracy is not good at all, 21%, which is pretty bad. A lot of shots fired, number of hits. Like I said, just some of those missions where it was really dark, it was really tough to hit. I see my preferred weapon was the MP40. 1,725 hits taken, 1,173 enemies killed, 186 headshots, 1,032 torso, 177 groin, 186 left leg, 74 right, 58 left, and 49 right. That's the stats you see for that. And like I said, next mission literally starts over after you beat the game. You know, the multiplayer, which I can't do even if it was active because I don't have a broadband adapter, and the broadband adapter for this is expensive. I think it's $100 plus, $150 or something. It's pretty expensive if I recall correctly. I eventually do want to get it just to have it. But like I said, you got the multiplayer. You go to your missions. You get to play, so you just select everything. Your next mission basically just, like I said, once you beat the game, you just literally start it over. Like I said, you saw the personal records and credits, so that's really all there is in terms of that for the game. But like I said, the overall, the length of the game depends on if you wanted to take your time to go through and not, rush, just enjoy the game. You probably could beat it in just a couple hours. If you are not used to, like I said, the darkness in some of these levels where you gotta turn up the brightness on your TV in your settings, then you might add another hour or hour and a half to your playtime because of that, which is what I did. So I took my time. I did a couple missions here, a couple missions there. The last mission is really short. It's literally, you find this hangar that has this prototype plane you're supposed to steal. Get to a small area, get to 2 more small areas, beat the bad guy, steal the plane, so that when you're beaten in under 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes if you're really good. So, and there's other couple ones that are not that long. There's some other ones that are a little bit longer. There's a lot of objectives you gotta do. But overall, these are the type of, these older Medal of Honor games or Call of Duties are what I enjoy the most playing. The newer Call of Duties, like, I'm not into those. Or the newer Medal of Honor games when they used to make them, well, they were okay. But I prefer these older World War II ones. They were more my cup of tea. So overall, controls in this game, I give it a 10. Sound effects, everything, I give it 10. The fact that it did ship with multiplayer, granted, I'm almost positive it's not active anymore, of course. So the rarity of options that you have with this game when it initially shipped, I would say it would probably be a 10. The graphics, I would say probably a 5. Because for the most part, like I said, they're not good. And there's the early title. This is definitely something they didn't really try to put much into the graphics. When you see some of the later games like Super Mario Sunshine or the Rogue Squadron games, or Resident Evil 4 and 0 and the remake and things like that, you see what the system is actually capable of. So, Reshisha, even the first Call of Duty, Finest Hour, looks a lot better than this game. So I think the first one they kind of phoned it in a little bit in the graphics department. But even so, with the graphics being a 5, everything else being a 10, overall I'd say the game's a solid 7 out of 10. Definitely recommend it. You can pick it up pretty cheap, because I think I got this new for $20. Actually, I think it was closer to 25. But I think it's well worth the price. And because if I remember right, Frontline here, European Assault, both are 1-disc game. Rising Sun is a 2-disc GameCube game. So that's something to keep in mind. Like I said, it doesn't take up too many blocks on your memory card. But if you can, I'd recommend get a 512 block memory card or a 1028 Right now I have the standard one, which is 251. I am gonna get once I get down to maybe like 20 blocks left or so, I'll get a 512 one so I can, or I might even go to 1000, 28, 24, whatever it is. That way I don't have to switch memory cards and have so many memory cards and stuff. But like I said, that's my review for Medal of Honor Frontline for the GameCube. Like I said, everything on it is a 10 except for graphics, which I would say is a 5. So overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Recommend the game. Like I said, I got it on eBay for about 25 bucks. So that there is my review of Medal of Honor Frontline. Hope you guys enjoyed this brief review. Also, I want to say in closing, sorry I didn't include any gameplay, but it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning and I didn't get a chance to set up my stuff to record while I'm doing gameplay, so I'm shooting this all by hand. But I promise my next review for a GameCube game, I will show some gameplay with it. So you can see what I mean with the graphics and stuff. But I want to thank you all for watching this review from Medal of Honor Frontline for the GameCube. Please like, share, subscribe. Take care, everyone. Goodbye, and thank you.